The reality of a brutal summer drought has officially hit our region, and there is no denying that our gardens are feeling it like never before. With temperatures soaring, rainfall at an all-time low, and watering restrictions that are getting tighter by the day, keeping your favorite vegetables alive might feel like an uphill battle right now. But before you throw in the towel and let this sun bake your beds, there are a ton of things that you can do to utilize every drop of water coming into your garden, protect your soil, and keep your garden going through the summer heat wave and drought. Today we're diving into the 8 ways to save your Florida garden from the drought, using the exact methods recommended by the UF Extension as well as my own personal knowledge to help your garden beds retain moisture and follow our watering restrictions. But we will also be talking about the one thing that we should not be doing in our gardens when it is this hot and we are under drought. Before we get into it here, if you have any Florida gardening friends, make sure you share this video with them. That's the only way that our channel grows and we get to help more Florida gardeners just like you and me. So if you know somebody else who's under this watering restriction from our current drought, let's work on our gardens together, stick to our watering restrictions, and see how our gardens can continue to thrive all the way through to fall. All right, let's get into it. Our first few strategies are how to master your watering technique when things get tough here. Picture this, you walk out at about 2 p.m. and you look at your sweet potato vines or your squashes and you notice that they are completely wilted. Your immediate reaction is probably to panic water them. You go grab the hose and you blast them with water and just hope that they aren't dead. But don't do it. It's normal for those plants to wilt in the heat of our day, and it's actually protecting their internal watering systems. It doesn't necessarily mean that your soil is dry. It just means that it is hot out here. Instead, brush away the mulch or whatever covering you have over your soil and actually look and feel your soil around that plant. Does it feel hot or does it feel cool? Does it feel dry or can it still clump under your hands when you grab it? If your soil doesn't feel cool, if it feels really hot, you might have to add a little bit more mulch or a little bit more shade for your soil. If it feels dry, then you might want to water that plant, but still wait until that sun goes down, give it another check, and then water after the heat of the day is done. Or better yet, water it in the morning before the heat of the day. The second thing we need to work on with our watering is to only water the root zone. We don't want to be watering the leaves of the plant. We just want to water down in the soil where their roots are. UF Extension emphasizes this, especially to keep the water off of the foliage or the leaves, because that can invite the fungal diseases, the bacterial diseases, powdery mildew, you name it down here. And we already have enough of a challenge dealing with those issues with our humidity. We don't want to add to it by also getting water on the leaves unnecessarily. The third thing is to change your watering frequency. It is better to water less frequently, but more deeply, compared to watering frequently every day, but more superficially. Personally, I could never stand out here with my hose watering each one of my plants for like 8 minutes. That's just not me. I don't like being out here in the heat for that long to care for all of my plants. So I resort to my gardening grids here. They're kind of buried, but they are down in here. This one is from Gardening in Minutes, and I have them in all of my raised beds here. So I hook up my hose and I turn it on. At the beginning of the season, I'll see how long it takes for that watering grid to sink down about, to have the water sink down about 6 inches. For me, it's about 7 or 8 minutes per bed to get that water to sink down. But watering my plants with this method, I am doing fine watering my plants 1 day a week with our current watering restriction, whereas I know some others who have been watering just superficially every day, and their plants are really struggling with this drought right now. The best time to do this is, of course, in the early mornings before that heat comes up. But if you are dealing with blossom end rot on your tomatoes, you might want to try watering your tomatoes at night instead after that sun has gone down, so your plants can better uptake that calcium that's available to the soil as the water moves through the plant and hopefully all the way to those tomatoes throughout the night. If we're talking about water efficiency, a drip irrigation system is the absolute gold standard. What makes it so wonderful is that it applies the water only at the roots of your plant, which, as we talked about, UF recommends applying the water directly to the root zone. So with a drip irrigation system, you can do this really efficiently and you aren't wasting water spraying outside of the root zones of your plants. On the areas of my garden that I don't have the grid set up, I bought a drip system from Amazon that I hooked up with different emitters source that helps to water all of my fruit trees and my blueberry bushes. There's also a ton of kits where you can do like a DIY drip irrigation kit if you want to work on truly piecing one together yourself. But I'll link the drip irrigation kit that I got on Amazon in the description below, as well as my gardening grids. If you're more of a pot gardener or a grow bag gardener and you're having an issue keeping those moist throughout this drought, you can add an Oya to the inside of that grow bag. An Oya is a porous clay pot that you bury deep into the soil, and it has a hole at the top that you just fill up with water. Since the clay is porous, the water seeps out of that Oya and into the soil around it. There's no evaporation because it is buried under the ground, so it can be a really efficient way to keep your plants hydrated without having to worry about the evaporation that can come from watering overhead. One other thing you can do right now to help your plants to retain more moisture is to mulch heavily. When we're in the middle of this summer heat, we're talking 1 to 3 inches of like a pine mulch or a wood mulch over all of your exposed soil. This helps to hold the moisture that you're putting into your soil actually into your soil instead of letting it evaporate right away. This has been one of the biggest game changers for me in my garden this past year because it's helped to keep weeds down significantly, and this is the first time we're dealing with such a significant drought while I've been gardening in Florida, and my plants are doing very, very well with that mulch addition. It also helps to keep your soil much cooler, to keep those soil microbes alive, which is actually what's helping your plant to thrive and grow. The next step you can take to drought-proof your garden is to actually get a rain collection system. There are a ton of them out there of all different shapes and all different sizes. You can hop on Amazon to see what the best one is for you. Personally, we have a water table over there that my kids like to play in, and I set it out every time we get a rainstorm so I can keep pulling from that on the hottest days when my plants need a little extra drink. But we are hoping to get a rain barrel for this coming fall season. The absolute easiest way to survive the drought is to follow UF Extension's #1 rule: plant the right plant in the right place. In Florida, annual dry periods are completely normal. So if we try to grow our water-loving crops during the drought season or during our super hot season, we're setting our crops up and ourselves for failure, as well as a very high watering bill. Instead, look at the tough summer champions that we talked about last week. Think your okra, your roselle, your sweet potatoes, your beans, your marigolds, your sunflowers. These plants are made to withstand these drought conditions and the heat that comes along with summer here. Also, we need to think about our timing. If you're thinking about adding any new edible crops to your bed, the UF Extension's recommendation is clear. Wait until we get our rainy season, or at least until we're not under such a heavy drought. New transplants require more water before they're established, and now is simply not the time to be putting those into your beds. Look at your weather, try to time it with some upcoming rain that we're getting, and otherwise let those transplants grow longer inside where they can be stronger and bigger and more ready for the climate they're going to get when they come out here. Talking about starting our seeds inside right now, June is the pivotal month for starting your fall tomatoes, your fall peppers, and some fall flowers inside now where they can get nice and strong under those controlled conditions under your grow light. Personally, I'm going to nurture my transplants inside a little bit longer this year than I normally would because I'm trying to wait out this drought, and I'm trying to wait until temperatures come down just a little bit more so my transplants can have the best chance of surviving and I can hopefully have a bountiful fall harvest. When I bought my first grow light, I did a ton of research and limited it down to the one that I got. I was super happy with that one. This year, I ended up with an amazing find on Facebook Marketplace where I got the Vigo 76 cell starter trays in a 4-pack. So I'm going to be advancing my grow light a little bit more to accommodate that many cells. I'll link both the beginner grow light in the description below, as well as my more advanced version that I'm going to be trying out this year. And before you go buy any random tomato seeds to throw into those cells like I have done many years in the past, check out my Florida Ultimate Growing Guide to Tomatoes. Make sure that you're choosing tomato varieties that actually withstand our climate. Within that guide, I've listed all of the varieties of the different types of tomatoes that UF recommends growing down here in Florida. They're supposed to be more heat tolerant, more disease resistant, to give you a better tomato and a better harvest. And last but not least, this is the #1 thing not to do right now, no matter how tempting it might be Do not fertilize your plants. We don't want to fertilize our plants when we're in this drought and we're in the middle of the summer. We want them to simply survive and wait until we cool off and we get a little bit more rain before they can thrive again. If we add fertilizer to them, even though they're looking a little bit sad and like they might need a little bit of help right now, it actually stresses them out more. It makes it harder for them to bounce back once those temperatures come down and once the rain comes back. The same thing goes for pruning right now. I have some beds that are looking like an absolute jungle, which I kind of like, but we don't want to be pruning our plants right now, especially not our trees or our bushes. It takes energy away from them to actually heal those cuts, and right now we just want them to direct all of their energy into surviving. That's it for today's video. If you found this information helpful on the 8 tips to help your garden survive this heat and drought season and the one thing not to do, make sure you like it, subscribe to the channel so you'll be the first to know when I release my next video, and share it with your Florida gardening buddy. Until next time, I'll see you soon.